Hello. 19 years ago, I finished my history and classics degree. Since then, a lot's changed. That was 2006, so Facebook had just been born, you see, a couple of years before. And it was the advent of social media. Since then, in the last 19 years, I've become obsessed with and had a career with the fitness industry and sport. Now, over the last, let's say, 15 years, the industry has changed massively. So much so that the channel that I produce, the content that I put out, the social media accounts that I have, all look very, very different. And my access to it has given me a very different perspective of that from 15, 20 years ago. Now, recently, as a 40-year-old man, I've been reflecting upon social media. I've been reflecting on content and being one of these creators. It's given me food for thought. How obsessed am I about those likes, follows, views, subscribers? How much weight am I willing to give them? Are they the measure of success? Is that what defines how good the content is that's put out? Now I'm going to loop this back round to my degree. Now, during my degree, I studied the ancient Greek myths, amongst others. And one of them that struck me recently, and that I drew parallels to whilst thinking out loud, and now I'm going to put it into video, was the story of Echo and Narcissus. Now, some of you might recall this story, or have, read it potentially. But I want to kind of dive into it a little bit and talk about it and how there are striking parallels and resemblances to the social media phenomenon. It's certainly given me food for thought. So we're going to start with Echo. Now, Echo is this nymph, and she's a beautiful orator. She can speak. She has these beautiful stories. People listen to her. They stop and they fall in love with her words. And one day she's talking to Hera, who is Zeus's wife. And she's mesmerized Hera. Hera's waiting on every word that Echo's saying. However, there was an ulterior motive here. Echo is distracting Hera at the command of Zeus, while he was playing away with a couple of other nymphs. Now, Hera got wind of this. Powerless to curse Zeus, she cursed Echo. And she cursed Echo by stunting her vocabulary. Now, Echo, and this is where we get the word echo, could only repeat the last words that someone had spoken to her. That was her curse. She could only repeat the last couple of words that someone else had said. Now, Echo, let's fast forward. Echo's walking through the woods and she stumbles across this beautiful man. Now, this man's name is Narcissus. Now, Narcissus was born a beautiful boy. People around him worshipped him just simply because of the way that he looked. His appeal was stunning. No one could resist. There had been men and women in his past that he'd rejected because they couldn't be good enough for him. Now, Narcissus was on this big quest to find this thing that would quench his thirst, but he could never find it. Nobody was going to be good enough. Nobody could live up to this expectation. Now, Narcissus is walking through the woods and Echo comes out. Now, obviously cursed to only repeat the last couple of words that people say. She's trying to convince Narcissus to be with her, engage with her, fall in love back with her. But Narcissus gets frustrated and he palms her off. Goodbye, Echo. Now, Echo, utterly heartbroken, wanders into a cave. And gradually, over time, she disappears and she's cursed into the small parts of the furthest reaches of this cave. She's still there today, isn't she? Now, Narcissus carries on walking through the woods, again rejecting people in this search for something, but he doesn't know what. He doesn't know what the thing is that he wants to find. Now he lays down at the side of this lake, this pond. And he looks down at the water. And he sees himself for the first time, his reflection. And he immediately falls completely and utterly in love with himself. This thing that he can see, he doesn't know it's himself. This thing that he sees is just unquenchable. It's there. It's this thing he's been looking for. It lives up to his expectations. It's exactly what he needs. And he stares there for days and days, just looking into this water. And finally, he reaches down to try and touch and grasp this person. But it disappears. Every time he touches the water, it disappears. And his heart is broken. He realizes this thing that he wants and needs so badly is always going to be out of reach. It's never going to be good enough. Now, Narcissus is cursed there. He lays down completely broken. And the ground starts to absorb him. The grass and the soil take over. And in his place spawns the daffodil. And that's where we get the Latin name Narcissus for the daffodil. You can look that up, the official flower name for it. Now, that was the fate of Echo and Narcissus. How does that apply to us? Well, let's have a think about those two characters. Start with Echo. Okay, so Echo is this young, vibrant woman who has this ability and this beauty. But along the way, she gets corrupted. And she's cursed to only ever repeat what she's heard or what she's seen. She cannot create. She cannot put out anything of her own. She's doomed to simply repeat things she's seen or heard. That remind you of anyone? It reminds me of millions. All you have to do is open TikTok or Instagram, and there's millions of those people waiting around, echoing, repeating, without any value or worth of their own. They are doomed to repeat and echo for eternity, being miserable and fading away. Now, the other character, Narcissus, let's think about him. He has this thing, he has this offering. He has something about him. Let's say his looks in this example. But will it ever be enough? Will he use it for the good, for betterment? Or is it a limiting factor for him? Does it set this bar so damn high that he's assigned his one attribute to himself that he is there looking for in someone else, that eventually he can only find it in his own reflection, but he can never grasp it. It's never going to be able to reach it. It's never going to be enough. Narcissus is doomed. What he's searching for in that path, he can never get. Now, open up your phone again. Have a look on Instagram and social media. Does that remind you of anyone? People with a certain charm, a certain look about them. Using that to dismiss and dismay and requite people in search of this thing that, as a neutral, as someone stood back, maybe someone a bit older with a bit more experience, you're looking back and you think, it's something you will never be able to grasp. It's out of your reach, that thing that you're after. Now, those likes, views, follows, subscribers, they're all feeding that path. They're those followers that are asking you for their love. But you won't give it to them. You can't. Because that one thing that you're after on this journey is way above them. And you won't ever be able to find it. And it will be your doom. Now, for Echo, the curse that she was put upon by Hera is when she started playing games, when she started covering for Zeus, when she started playing politics on social media. She was doomed to simply echo, no original thoughts of her own. She would be destined to be lonely, confused, heartbroken, and alone. Narcissus. Narcissus is staring into the pond at himself. He's obsessed with himself. And what he wants out of himself, he will not ever be able to grasp. It will always slip away. No amount of follows, likes, subscribes, views will ever be enough. And he's doomed. Now, those parallels are striking. Well, to me at least they are. What can we do about this? Well, for the echo types, take a step back. Realize that repetition and pollination and mirroring, they mean nothing. They're a destiny of loneliness and heartbreak. We require you to have your own thoughts, your own feelings. It's okay to have them. It's okay to be unique. It's okay to have your own thoughts. And it's okay to not subscribe to a political side or a certain team or a tribe. It's okay to have your own thought. It's okay to have conversation. Just don't be fooled by Zeus into representing people that won't have consequence themselves, but will doom you to. And the narcissists, where we get the word, who assign their value on that one attribute they have. That magic machine that they have that gives them that little worth, that feeling. Those admirers, those people that follow and tell you, back you up. That won't ever be enough. You're doomed to be staring at that thing, that lake, that pond, and it will forever be out of your reach. And for those people, we require you to put that effort and that thought into progress, into substance, into something of value and worth that will contribute. not just elevate yourself. Society has enough of them. Now, the story of Echo and Narcissus is very poignant. But we aren't all doomed to be that way. We have the ability. This is a calling for everyone. This is a reflection, just like any myth, any story, any parable. They're only as good as the intent behind them, but they're only as good as what you're willing to do with them. Now, if you found yourself listening to this and thinking, maybe I'm Echo, maybe I'm Narcissus, have a think about how you can reform yourself, how you can get back on track, and how you can escape that doom of being in the cave by yourself, lonely, confused, and despondent. Or at that lakeside, forever doomed to be staring at yourself with that untouchable grasp. Have a lovely day.